Aisha, I think I want to follow suit with you and Amy's life journey and marry and like convert to Muslim and marry a really nice, loving Muslim husband and move to that country.
Hello, 'tis I, Fat Cow. That clip you just saw was from July 2022, roughly 2 months before Chantal met Salah via, presumably, allegedly, Big Turk, who she talks about later on in that video, about their escapades, let's say. Interesting, isn't it? It's like she was inviting the romance scammers in. Anyway, that's not actually what I'm here to talk about. I just thought it was interesting. So, Foodie finally went live yesterday. She was off her gourd on something herbal, and now we know she lied. Whoop-de-doo. Big deal. Which is not interesting in the slightest. We all knew she was in Canada. We just didn't know why. In fact, it was more exciting when we didn't know why she was in Canada, because at least we were speculating and coming up with theories, and it was all very interesting. And now we know it's just a visa run. Oh, and Foodie, the reason we're so curious as to whether or not you have a tourist visa or not is purely down to one fact and one fact only. If you're on a tourist visa, you cannot be legally married. And that fact leads to an entire smorgasbord of shit you invited into your life in terms of legalities with the Kuwaiti authorities. But I digress. I am personally of the opinion that it would have been far, far, far more interesting had Foodie actually stayed offline for the entire month. And the most interesting thing to come out of this whole thing is that the video has now been privated. Which can only mean one thing. Despite her claims that she got permission, but not really permission, because he doesn't control her, off Salah to go live, she did it behind his back. And now he's pissed. What a lovely, loving, supportive, communicative, trusting relationship. Although she didn't say anything either way about why she went to Canada, it's very obvious it's a visa run, and it's a visa run to the single most affordable location possible. Yet granted, the plane ticket in itself was expensive. She didn't necessarily buy it though. Maybe her family did. But now that she's in Canada, she's not paying for accommodation. And apart from food she eats outside of the home of her aunt, she has nothing to pay for. So, there you go. Is she renting a car? I severely doubt it. But time will tell. So here's the thing. We always knew she was in Canada, and now we know it's just a visa run. All the things that we were speculating between ourselves and having fun with. Nope, none of them are going to come to fruition. The relationship isn't on the rocks. His father didn't kick her out. This isn't a health thing. Aliens weren't involved. So basically nothing's changed at all. So I would like to gather us all here today to get through this thing called life. If you know the reference to that, You're one of my people. For which I say, the reason I just said that is, one, because I'm an idiot, and two, because we are finally seeing the demise, the decline, the death of Foodie's channel. There's nothing there. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's going to change. We have been blatantly told what to expect. Apart from the occasional rage, if somebody manages to poke the bear enough, and maybe a health thing, boy, are we in for a wild ride of utter codswallop and dire attempts at making something remotely palatable. It's just going to be eating and grumbling and complaining, and the views will get smaller, they will get more desperate, and we will see a cycle and then another cycle and then another cycle. I mean, in all fairness, I'm happy to see the death of the channel before seeing the death of the commentator who fronts the channel. So, we should be grateful for small mercies, I guess. But yes, this, as of yesterday, Boxing Day 2024, was the day that Foodie Beauty's channel was diagnosed as being terminal. There's nothing that can fix this anymore. One last thing. You know how Foodie always says that the only reason she rages is in defence. We have another thing to add now. The only reason Foodie lies is for her own safety. Ooh, I wonder how many times we're going to hear that from now on. So, we have 4 rules now. Rule number 1, Foodie lies. Rule number 2, if Foodie says, prove it, she's lying. Rule number 3, Foodie only rages in defence. Rule number 4, Foodie lies for her own safety. Which means rule number 2 and rule number 4 is technically rule number 1. And I did have another rule and I've completely forgot it. What the heck was that one? I'll be back when I remember. I remembered. Rule number 5. It's never Foodie's fault.
Hi, use it.
I've included this bit not because I'm body shaming, nothing like that whatsoever. I have a concern and I'm putting it out there because I legitimately don't know. Now obviously she's wearing Spanx because everything's been lifted and there's no underhang, if you understand what I mean. So surely, with that removed, the gait, the way she walks, she would be able to bend her knees Surely. Because the thing is, when it's in the way, I can understand the swaying and maybe the not bending the knees because you will be knocking the overhang. But now that it's up, is she walking so stiff-legged because she can no longer bend her knees to walk, or she's got so used to walking with her legs straight that she just can't anymore? Because that's really concerning. I mean, not really, because it's foodie. No offence. No, okay, yeah, no offence. But, for example, if she did, by some force of nature, lose weight, would she get the mobility in her knees back, or would she always walk straight-legged from now on? The walking, it puzzles me.